easier. Maybe that's what I needed. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome. I am your host, Tanya TKO, and we're going to go ahead and get live on these other platforms. Let's get live on these other platforms. We're going live on 2 pages on YouTube because YouTube has threatened to take away my monetization if I don't go live on the other page. Well, now I'm live on both pages at the same time. We're live on Twitter, we are live on Facebook, and we are live on LinkedIn. Welcome. Hey! All right, listen. We have, oh my goodness. We have a show today that does not bring me joy to talk about. I'm actually quite distressed to discuss this topic, and you know what? Let's go ahead and get very real. All right, today we're going to be talking about this Nigerian man that was unalived in Italy. You know, coming on the tail end of one of my subbies, Simone, who stated that in Italy there is racism, but it's not violent, right? And so I'm going to let's start out with the video, right? I'm not going to show the footage of the attack, but just know this is where's my thing. We came, the thing pulled us live before we were supposed to go live, right? And so one of my screens is a little messed up behind the scenes. So here, right here. So we're going to, this is basic. Look, we're not going to show it because it's graphic and it's heartbreaking. I'm going to get past this part in the video. So basically, this man gets on top of another human being. He gets on top of another human being and he overpowers him and beats him until he's unalived, right? And people with cameras filmed it and did nothing. Nothing. And I thought to myself, I didn't want to cover this story, right? Because I'm like, that's not the type of thing that we typically talk about on this channel. We talk about self-love. I'm a self-love specialist. I am a certified matchmaker, certified clinical hypnotherapist, and I'm a life coach who specializes in relationship coaching. Thank you. On this channel, we talk about self-love, and there are self-love lessons here for Black people in this situation that I want us to pay attention to, because I am positing that this man being unalived in Italy is part of a much larger issue that we've been talking about recently. Because for those of you who don't know, I started uploading shorts on TikTok, Instagram, as well as here on YouTube, right? Oh, what do you all think of my birthday here? Tomorrow is my birthday. So I am celebrating early. So nonetheless, right, I feel that this is a part of a larger conversation that we started having the other day when we spoke with a man by the name of E.K. Slimster, a Nigerian American who made the comment because, you know what, we'll show the video. I'll show the short. But I feel that this is indicative of a much larger issue that exists worldwide that needs to be addressed. All right. All right, here we go. I just want to get past the violence here. So this is his wife right here. Hold on, I need to get the volume into my headset. Give me 1 second. Like I said, we were pulled live before I was expecting to be pulled live. And so we're kind of trying to get everything together as we are here. Thank you. I appreciate the birthday wishes. Me and Obama share the same birthday, Leo season. So this is his wife there, and she's crying. Hold on. I don't know if I want you all to be able to hear her. She's saying that she wants justice for her husband. And to me, seeing her crying here is heartbreaking to me. Seeing this brings me no joy. It brings me pain. And this is an uncomfortable conversation that I want us to have. And I know I know it's going to sound like I'm bashing, but I'm hoping that somebody will hear my call and decide that enough is enough. How many more Black women do we need to see crying? How many more Black children do we need to see fatherless or motherless? How many more? You know, EK Slimster made a joke, and I'm going to reference that joke, and I'm also going to show some other footage and some images, and we're going to go from there. But how much more of this pain porn do we need to see of our women and children wailing? I don't like seeing this, and I feel that this sets the narrative for more of this to come.
Justice, somebody that killed him. I want that person to pay dearly for it. I want justice for it. That is what I want.
So this is the guy. He was 39 years old, right? Some people are saying he was 32. Some people are saying he's disabled. He was injured in a car accident, and he then became a street seller, right? My heart aches for the Nigerian woman who had to find her husband unalived in Italy. Our people suffer worldwide, and it's heartbreaking. It's more than just heartbreaking, it's infuriating, and we need to do something about it. The police have arrested someone, right? However, the bigger conversation to me here is the fact that people filmed it. People filmed it and did nothing. This man felt completely justified in standing. So these are people in the country who are coming. Another Black man was unalived while the very Italian passerbys were filming everything with their mobile phones, and the motive is only. This is the result of. It's like there's so many words we can't say on these platforms, but look at her. She looks heartbroken. My heart breaks for her, right? My heart breaks for her. How many more? How many more? How many more? So let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about it. All right. So the other day I made a video, right? I'm going to play the short for you all. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to play the short so that. All right. The full video, Foolishness, is available here on YouTube, so you can watch it at your leisure. It's a 90-minute video.
Get your hands. You pull it up like this, like so, I guess. And then you just dip it inside the fufu, like this.
Inside the fufu.
The fuck? Oh no.
Here I am, enjoying the fact that my ancestors were able to run fast enough to escape slavery. Too much? Okay, all right. This is what we do here.
I said I was celebrating the fact that my ancestors were fast enough to run away from slavery. But you know what makes it funnier, Tanya? I would never make that joke without context. I had just found out that my great-great-great-grandfather actually did not escape slavery. And this is what I mean. Okay. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even.
Right. So
get your hands.
The laughter of this just is infuriating to me. I just wanted to show you all this video real quick. No, I won't show that one. What I'll do is I'll show the short that I did, because my shorts are here. Oh God, let me get
your hands.
I need to get into my these. I got to get into the studio, right? Welcome in Text Notification Squad. If you're a part of the Text Notification Squad, you get a text whenever I go live. That way you never miss another live video. You're here on time. You get the link directly to here. Okay? So here, let me show the short that I did yesterday, because I feel like I feel like this is okay, here. Here we go. I need to get, where's the volume on this? Oh, damn, these freaking platforms and all this foolishness. Making fun of fufu. How can we have anything but pity for them?
Well, I can't have pity because no one is trying wonton and spitting it out. You just don't do that. That's just not what you, it's not respectful.
So here's the video of these African women who are trying sushi, and then they got it hanging out their mouth. They're getting ready to spit it out. The girl just spits it out right there, right?
Now, how do you think a Japanese
laughing.
person would respond to this? I can't imagine it would be appropriate to mock the trauma of the African past because of sushi.
Enjoying the fact that my ancestors were able to run fast enough to escape slavery.
It just looks like an excuse to try to dehumanize people to me.
All right. You see the descendants of those who were trafficked making fun of fufu. How can we have anything but pity for them? All right. So basically, the basic premise is some people, it was perceived that some people not liking fufu was an affront, an assault, a denigration, disrespect to African culture and African foods and African people. So much so that Ike felt that it was appropriate to come out and make a joke about how his ancestors were fast enough to run away from slavery, right? And I thought about all of this yesterday when I put up that video of the short of the women, because I lived in Japan for a year. And I asked the question aloud, how do you think Japanese people would respond to those women spitting out their food? Even if it was 1,000 people spitting out sushi, they wouldn't have the visceral reaction to it because there's a certain level of self-love, self-pride, self-value, self-worth that exists where a Japanese person loves themselves enough and has enough cultural pride to know that if somebody doesn't like sushi, I can imagine. For those of you who know Japan, Japanese people are very much up on appearances. You'll see these shows of people who go to taste food, and it doesn't matter how the food tastes. Like, you can see on the person's face that the food doesn't taste well, but they'll be like, "Oishi desu, oishi," which means that it's delicious, right? And so Japanese people are very big on appearances, but I can imagine that it wouldn't be appropriate for a Japanese person to then start trying to mock slavery and all this other stuff. But I thought to myself, why would they mock slavery? What type of person feels such little? And I realized that the whole entire thing, the coming out, the lashing out, is because deeply embedded beneath the show of bravado, the show of all of this quote unquote pride, deeply embedded underneath all of that is a sense of inferiority. Because there's something gnawing on the inside of many people from the continent that feel lesser than. And I started running back through it. When did this all begin? You see? This is when the video was supposed to start. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome, 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 welcome. I can't stop the music, but I can turn it down. Yeah. So let's listen. Somebody's saying no home training. That's fine. That's fine. There is a certain lack of decorum for spitting food out. But if something doesn't taste well to you, why would you keep it in your mouth? You would want to get it out of your mouth, right? Nonetheless, let's continue forward. So I started rewinding in my mind, and I was like, when did this all begin? How did this start? Why do people feel this way? And I did a video the other day. I truncated a short where I talked about how the name Nigeria came from the derivative N-word area, because by the time Nigeria received its name from Europeans, the word Niger from the Niger River, the Niger region, had already been converted into the N-word. And when they gave Nigeria that name, so there's a professor by the name of Ayimbode, I believe, Professor Ayimbode, who I'll find the name for you all, but I'm going to show you some images, right? I'm going to show you some images that I feel are important for us to take a look at, right? Let me bring this up onto the main screen, right? Okay. All right. So I was watching this documentary, right? This is the image that I saw that I found to be a little troubling, right? Not troubling, but just, I want you all to tell me what it is that you see in this image right here, right? In this image, you see this Caucasoid right here. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, right? And surrounding them are Black people sitting down all around them. And the Black people aren't wearing clothes, or they have cloth draped across them, but they're not wearing stitched clothing, like these guys and all of their blah, blah, blah that they have all set up all around them. And this is, I guess, the chief or whatnot, right? This is a picture that was taken after the taking of Lagos, right? So this is the way Lagos was back in the days, right? And listen, there's a lot to unpack here. When I saw this image, I was like, wow, you know what? I can't imagine what these people here thought when they went over to Africa and they saw people, scantily clad with cloth draped across them, etc., right? And I can't imagine where they felt that they were in the hierarchy. I was looking at this documentary. The name of the documentary is Journey of an African Colony. It's on Netflix, and it reveals a lot of information, because I remember when I went over to Nigeria in 2019 during the year of return, I was in tears after I went to the port to learn that people felt that they had the right to sell us in exchange for umbrellas, 100 people for a beach umbrella, 10 people for a bottle of gin. And this is not a rumor. I thought that it was a lie that we were sold. I thought we were captured. But there's a thing that we as Black Americans don't understand, and it's tribalism. Nigeria wasn't one cohesive country until these white folk came and named Nigeria for Niger, which had become the N-word, and then N-word area, right? I talk about that in one of my shorts. People are in denial about it. I am not saying this from myself. I am saying this based on a Nigerian scholar, a professor, who is stating this in the documentary, right? So, in this conference, Nigeria was named. There were Black people. This right here, what you see is a Maxim gun. It could shoot out either 200 or 600 rounds per minute. It just sliced and diced through human beings and just leveled whole towns. This is an image of Africa from back in the days, and these are the maps of the places that felt that they had dominion to go in there and take ownership of land on this country that was not theirs and had people on it that did not look like them. What was it that made them feel that they had the authority to go over there and wield their dominance? The way that Nigeria was taken was from infighting. So I was telling you about tribalism. Nigeria is made up of 3 different regions that white people decided to come and put together. They had different ways of governing, different customs, different cultures, etc. I'm going to show you this image right here. This is an image of the people in the north, right? And what a beautiful sight to see this Black with the white around it. But who you see there is Queen Elizabeth when she was young. so comfortable that they felt with the, so comfortable that they felt with the lack of threat from Black men, that they sent the queen over there to walk in her daintiness among them. So comfortable they felt that she would not be harmed, that no harm would come to them because they had already been subdued, right? When I looked at this documentary, I was really troubled by what it is that I saw. So let me just say this. When I read the book, right? When I read the book, Conversations with God, right? In the book Conversations with God, they talked, in the third book, they talked about highly evolved beings and what that looks like. And highly evolved beings in this book have no need for clothing. They have no need to be in buildings and structures, that they are communal and they're among one another. And they have a system of, the ancestors, the wisest, raising the children while the youngest give birth to the children. And in the book, Neil Donald Walsh asked the entity that is speaking through him as God. He's like, well, these people sound very primitive, right? And I think that our idea of what is primitive is backwards. Because these people went over there and they saw these people in lack of clothing, and they considered these people to be primitive, to be barbaric, to be whatever it is, and needing of civilization, right? They came over there with their weapons of mass murder, right? Like I said, certain words we can't say, right? And they sliced through human beings with no regard. The region that later became known as Nigeria was taken because of an already weakened state and tribalism. There was an uncle who was deposed, Kosoto, and let me see. I wrote the names down in my notepad on my phone. Let me just look that up real quick so that I could get the notes for you all. Did I put the notes on my? Did I put it on my? Because I have two different phones. Let me see. I think I put it in my other phone. Yeah. Oh no, here it is. Here it is. I got it in this phone. The nephew's name was Kosoko. He was in power. The uncle's name was Akitoye. He was reinstalled into power by the British. The uncle was older and he had already been dethroned, right? And he aligned himself with the British to allow the British to come in to get his nephew out of power. The British were then able to take the region. And once they got into the waterways of Lagos, right? Because Lagos is because of the water waves, named from the water waves, right? They were then able to go into the interior. They were able to get further into the interior because of people, Black people, who assisted them. You see that there are Black people who are alongside this man with a Maxim gun, dressed up in these in the clothing of these colonizers who came in. And these colonizers sawed through human beings. There are going to be a lot of people who are going to say, oh, it was different tribes who sold other tribes and all this other stuff. There was infighting in the tribe. You see, uncle and nephew allowed the British, the uncle fighting against his nephew, same tribe, allowed the British to come in. And these people, these barbarians, right? These trifling, hideous, barbaric humans who came there with their guns and their weapons with no regard for human life and the sanctity of the earth, mowed down human beings and felt that they had manifest destiny to take over other people's land, right? When EK makes the joke, my ancestors could run fast enough. Who were they running from? Why are you running on your land, Black man? That's the ultimate question. Why are you running? Who are you running from? How did they get there? Why are you not standing your ground? Part of the reason that Nigerians and many people in Africa couldn't stand their ground is because they didn't possess the savagery of these European descendants and these Europeans. They didn't have the savagery. They were living their lives, existing, and here come these people feeling that they should have their land. I have associates who are British, who love the Queen and the royals and the monarchs. I don't. I see the images of what colonialism has done worldwide. And so let's get back to the topic at hand. When we start talking about this man unalived in Italy, where did the blatant disregard for Black life begin? Why does it persist to this day? And it persists to this day because of the collective failure. Listen, if you're going to tell me you were fast enough, your ancestors were fast enough to run, listen, African Americans, Nigerians trafficked to this country. First of all, let me address the elephant in the room. Let me just talk about this. I went to this museum to honor slavery in Liverpool, Britain. In this museum, it is stated that 70% of the humans trafficked out of Africa were taken to Brazil. When you make a joke, my ancestors were fast enough to run away, right? You don't only insult African Americans, you insult, only 4% came to the United States. The vast majority, 70%, went to Brazil. Then there's the Caribbean, the Caribbees, and this other area. Like, these people were barbaric in their torture and torment of human beings. But what we're ultimately talking about is the collective failure of Black men to secure their land. The ultimate failure of Black men on the continent. And listen, I understand that this is going to be very hard for some people to hear, and some people may want me to put on a soft voice and try to look cute and all this other stuff so that you can take the message in more palatably. But the truth of the matter is that Black men were not able to secure their land. Part of the reason that they weren't able to secure their land is because they didn't possess the barbarism that these Europeans did. They didn't have the manpower, the gunpowder. They didn't have the blatant disregard for humans. Now, some of them did fight, yes, but they did not have the power to be able to stop the British from coming in and taking over. They were dominated. I don't say this with any glee or joy. They were dominated. And not only that, their resources pillaged. Africa is the most wealthy, resource-rich continent on this earth. The components that we use for our mobile phones come from the mines, the cobalt mines in Nigeria. There are items, there are riches that cannot be found anywhere else except in the fertile lands, the fertile soils of Mama Africa. So they could not stop their women, their children, and their other men from being taken. They were dominated by the Europeans, dominated and made docile. I mean, you see the image. What is it that would make them feel that this woman, their queen, there are no guns around her. These people have been subdued. And this is the North, and the North fought because the North fought more viciously because they were under the doctrine of Islam. And Islam, Islam believes if you hit me this way, I have the right to hit you exact same way with the exact same might and everything. So these people, they came in and they saw these people and they gave them Christianity, the turn the other cheek, the all of that, right? Keep turning those cheeks 1,000 times as we slap you 1,000 times. Islam had a different idea. So they fought more viciously in the North, but overtaken they still were. This image, when I see this image right here and how she smiles, and this is not the only image, there are other images of her coming among the natives, who she considered, most likely considered in her mind to be primitive, right? And somebody just said, of course, the screen, I have to admit that I come from a race of weak men. I think that we have to re-examine what it is that we think of weakness, right? Is dominating, is M-wording, is that strength? Is harming other people strength? However, at this point in time, the reason why I'm going through all of this is because the lack of regard for his life didn't start on the streets of Italy. It started from the fact that to present day, that there are more countries than not who have not been able to find their footing in Africa, that have not been able to become leaders of an industry, that have not been able to dominate in an industry or craft. That there are more, Nigeria is the country that has more, I read this in an article many years ago. They have more Nigerians, more people expatriated from Nigeria than any other country in Africa. And I think part of the issue comes in, like I wish I had the TikTok up right here, but I was watching this TikTok from one of my subbies, Simone, she's on TikTok, and she did this video. If I take a commercial break, I'll try to bring the video up. Simone, if you're on here, if you could send me the link to that exact video, where she talks about how Black Americans are treated better in Italy than Black people from the continent. And I thought to myself, why? Why is it that these other countries feel comfortable putting their hands on Black people, not just Black men, but Black women as well? It's the ultimate disrespect to put your hands on as a man. I'm going to show you this image here. What is it that makes this man feel that he can get on top of another man, get on top of him, dominate him, overpower him, and then take his life? When did that begin? And I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to show you a video that I did a few years ago.
Here, and I've been seeing a disturbing.
Hold on. I did this video during the pandemic, right? I did this video during the pandemic. And I'm not going to be able to show much of the video because there is violence in the video, but I want you to see, right? I want you to see. All right. So here.
Disturbing trend of COVID-19 being used as a way.
You cannot ride public.
Okay, so here. So we're going to get to the part in. So this was in China, right?
From outside told us that we cannot wear masks. There's a presidential order, there's a state order, and he's following us right now to the store. We're being asked to leave for being safe.
So, are we supposed to wear a mask? Are we not supposed to wear a mask?
This was during the pandemic, so let's get to the.
It says,
so here,
notice, we've been informed that from now on, Black people are not allowed to enter the restaurant for the sake of your health consciously. Notify the local police for medical isolation. Please understand the inconvenience caused. Police telephone 110. Come on, China. What are you doing? And take a look. You're going to see the woman with the papers in her hand handing it out. So it's not like this is a secret. This reminds me of the pain we used to feel growing up when we used to patronize certain Asian shops and they would follow us around, harass us, and bully us. I don't know why we thought it would be different on mainland China.
So basically, in this video, Chinese people were telling. So now these people are arguing with them. So this is the restaurant.
China, tell us why we should quarantine China. Tell us why we should be quarantined. China is outside. Tell us why we should quarantine.
So basically, they wouldn't allow Black people to come into restaurants, even though the COVID started in Wuhan. Come on. They have these wet markets where they have all of these animals coming together. So this is a video that I want you all to, we're not going to be able to show because, so listen, Chinese people evicting Africans because they claim Africans could be spreading the coronavirus, even though COVID came from Wuhan, right?
Where in China, they are evicting Black people from their apartments, evicting them from hotels, not renting apartments to them, not allowing them to stay in hotels, and then criminalizing it for them to be on the streets. And when we start asking whether or not COVID-19 is the new Jim Crow, we're going to take a look at some anti-vagrancy laws that were rampant in the United States after the quote-unquote freeing of the enslaved peoples.
On April 8th, a large number of African people in the southern Chinese city Guangzhou were driven out by their land.
I just want you to see. I'm going to make this larger so you can see. They are on the streets. This makes me want to cry. They're on the streets. They're on the streets. They got nowhere to go. Why? Why don't they have anywhere to go? Why can't they go back to their home countries? Why is it that their countries are not advocating for them? Why?
Landlords and had to stay on the streets. Another video shows many Africans dragging their luggage aimlessly through the streets of Guangzhou. One of them says, "We are just walking on the road. They can't give us a house. They can't give us a hotel, and they cannot provide a place we can stay." It comes after all of the cases reported by Guangzhou authorities in April were reportedly related to African people. It's led to discrimination against Africans among local Chinese.
There was somebody, I believe their name was Singer. They were blocked. I don't have the time for the foolishness on my screen. So let's get back to what we were talking about, us here as adults. Because I don't know, look, these people, look, I don't have the time. Go ahead and thumbs up, like the video, share the video, and get in on the conversation. So basically,
One citizen says the Africans staying on the street are a potential safety threat and a virus transmission hazard.
So let's talk about these Jim Crow-esque policies. After the enslaved Africans were quote-unquote set free in the United States, the southern regions came up with anti-vagrancy laws, which pretty much made it illegal for you not to have housing or to be underemployed. They criminalized people getting out of a situation where they did not have those things. And guess what happened to them? They were then put into indentured servitude in the...
This is a really great video. It goes on and on, but I wanted to ask the question, right? I wanted to ask the question, why is it that people from these other countries feel, and there were other videos of Chinese people beating grown men, hitting them in the head, beating women, black women. And it made me wonder, what is it that is making these people feel that they have authority and dominion to put their hands on other people? And what is it that made this Italian man feel that he had the authority to put his hands on this man and take this man's life? And part of the issue is that far too many of us are coming from the motherland, leaving countries that are in despair, countries that won't advocate for us, countries that are not doing well, coming in with no money, no real economic power, no political power, and beseeching, wanting something from these countries, wanting safe haven, wanting to be able to earn money. Of the two men that I met and became friendly with in Nigeria in 2019 when I was there, both of them, one took his family, his wife, his children, and went to, I believe it's Canada or England, one of those. He was able to get out of Nigeria. The other one is going to a different place in Europe. And there's this situation that exists in Nigeria where a lot of people feel hopeless because people are making, what, $300 a year? There's rampant corruption. There are all of these issues that exist. There was somebody who said something. There was somebody who said something when I was expressing how inappropriate it was to make slavery jokes because some people didn't like the food, right? It's like, come on, if you want to make jokes about the people who didn't like it, but to make slavery jokes is just, it's inappropriate. It's inappropriate. And somebody came and was like, oh, you African Americans are always crying. You always, something's always bothering you all. You always crying and protesting. And I'm like, fucking right. You goddamn right. Of course. And I think that there are people in other countries that can learn a lot from the behavior of African Americans. And even us in this country are far too passive, but it's in our speaking up. It's in our expressing our discontent. It's in our protest. It's in us. Because look, we are in a country that is majority Caucasoid and European descendants. Yes, we are. And yet we have still managed to enact change. Best believe that the change is not one that they had wanted to do and would have done without the pressing, without us pressing them. It is because of African Americans that the majority of African, Caribbean immigrants are able to come here, including my family. Listen, you know I'm Caribbean American. So I would be a fool to sit up here and disrespect African. It's like the cognitive dissonance of sitting on American soil, criticizing the Black Americans who made it possible. There's an immigration, let me see if I can find the Immigration Act of 1965, right? Let me see if I can find that window for us. I'm just gonna have to, I had the window open. Where is it now? I don't see it. So it's the Immigration Act of 1965. You can go look this up yourself. The Immigration Act of 1965 eliminated the racial quotas. It eliminated the racial quotas, and this opened up the door for Black people to be able to come over here from other countries. Because if there was Jim Crow in this country, and see, the thing is that white people pivot us against one another. In Nigeria, I learned how those Caucasoids came over there with their Bibles and their teachers. And Black children were taught by these white teachers who told them, who minimized their participation in enslavement, who taught them about how lazy we African Americans are. Somebody even commented on my Facebook page, it's because of you African Americans that the world sees Black people negatively. If I could pull up, if I could get to my Facebook page, facebook.com, let me come to my page. My page is Tanya TKO Show on Facebook. I'm going to come there right now. Tanya TKO Show. Let's get to the page. I am live on Facebook. Look, let's get to the page, right? Here, on this post right here, there's a person who made a comment, right? Let's see if I could get over to the comments. Let's organize these by newest, right? And let's scroll down and see if we can find the comment from the person. All right, so people are talking about these quote unquote vile, I'm not logged in on Facebook, so I'm gonna pull it up on a different screen because I do not log in on certain browsers because of privacy issues and blah, blah, blah. So let me open up my private browser and then bring this over so that you all can see. All right, let's pull this screen back over here. So if I could find this comment, right? Let's see, newest comment. All right, let's see. All right. There was a person who commented about how African Americans, right, are the reason. Oh, here it is right here. Here it is. Here's the comment. All right. So they're like, I think you should reverse Africans to African Americans because they think they are superior. Hold on, who was I talking to? No, hold on. That's false, right? Here. Some Africans think that they are more superior than other Africans. Behave as an African, I will never agree with. Okay, so then this person comes out and says, I think you should reverse Africans to African American because they think they're superior. They think they're being treated like trash to where they are transported and still make the loudest noise. African Americans are the reason people have such a negative view about Black people, but no one talks about this, right? Okay. And then I respond back. I'm like, no, false. Listen, I've traveled all over the world. African Americans, it's because of African Americans that the culture, the style of dress, the African American vernacular English is because of African Americans that we have permeated into other countries, that we have brought the music, that we have brought our customs and cultures and made it cool and fashionable. African Americans are the reason that they have K-pop in Asia. African Americans are the reason that Elvis, look, African Americans paved the way for Black music to be able to get on the airwaves, which paved the way for Caribbean music to get on our airwaves, which paved the way for Afro beats to get on our airwaves. African Americans made all of this stuff possible, right? It's like African Americans are, and the power that we wield. Now, there may be some issues that exist in this country, but there is a power that comes with the blue passport that we are afforded. There is a power that comes with being under this red, white, and blue star-spangled banner that we have over here. And we command a different type of respect. She's talking about Americans are loud. When I asked Simone, I was like, well, what is it that makes Black Americans get treated differently? And part of why Black Americans are treated better in Italy is because of the way, like, you can always tell an American when you're traveling. Are they loud? Yes, Americans are loud. Americans take up space. Americans come with the ego of being American because there is financial power, there is political power, there's a war machine that exists. And unfortunately, the language that men understand is the language of violence. Listen to what it is that I'm saying. I don't say this stuff because I think that I don't say this stuff because I'm gleeful about it. Listen, violence is the language that men understand. Do you really have anything if you can't protect that which you have? And there are different degrees of being able to protect yourself. Does America care about Black people here in this country? We have some issues in this country. We have issues in this country. However, we know that if there's a landslide or something and America has to airlift Americans out, America will come and airlift Americans out. They will lift out their citizens. Where are the countries advocating for their citizens being beat with brooms and evicted in these other countries? They don't have a certain amount of power because they fled from bad situations and are now, quote unquote, beggars on the land, wanting favor from these Europeans. And it's like, listen, we really, as a collective, there are trillions of dollars that we are owed. Nigeria is owed money. Ghana is owed money. I showed the roadways. So the pillaging and the pilfering of money from Nigeria is part of the reason that Britain's roads are built up and Britain has all of these infrastructure. Britain sucked and siphoned from the colonies in the Caribbean as well, in India as well. They sucked and siphoned because the way that the structure worked in Britain is the people on the bottom would pay their taxes upward. And Britain just exuded I can't think of the word, but they placed a heavy tax on Nigeria, sucking the money out of Nigeria, having using the resources to build up back home. So it's like we talk about slavery and these things, but colonialism is the different side of that hand. On the one hand, Africans were trafficked. On the other hand, Africans were dominated and ruled over, and the resources taken from the very land on which they stood. So much so that even to this day, Africa has not recuperated. We are owed trillions of dollars. And so when people talk about how Black Americans are loud and we complain and all that, yes, fucking right. Fucking right. And when worse got to worse, the Black Panther movement rose up in this country, and that got a lot of people's attention because Black men were wielding guns and saying that we're going to police the police. And that got a lot of things changed, but bowing your head and crying on TV and crying in these videos, that's not getting change to be enacted. What? I'm sorry, there are countries paying billions to France. Please, no say this. Don't say this. Please, don't say this. Don't say this. I don't want to, no. I'm not even going to contemplate that. No. I'll show you all. I'll show you real quick, right? I'll show you real quick. When you see the descendants of those, my shorts, right? I'm going to show you. There's a bit of controversy about whether or not the name Nigeria comes from N-word area. Go watch the documentary. It is a Nigerian scholar saying this, that though the word originally started out as Niger, these people bastardized the word into the N-word. And when this guy, I'll play a little bit of it for you. Netflix doesn't play with their copyright, so we gotta be careful. There seems to be this cognitive dissonance. The ancestors that got trafficked and the ancestors who were back home who had Europeans on their soil ruling over them. I watched a documentary. I want to pause. There's a person named Salam that says this title is problematic and ignorant. Please, by all means, prove that as a collective, Black men have not failed. As a collective. I'm not, and listen, it hurts my heart to say this. I'm talking about as a collective, failed to, in modern day, build up their countries to modern day standards, to be able to protect. There is no African nation. There's not one African nation that can stop a developed, a superpower like the United States from invading today. There's no African nation that can stop China from invading. Tell me, brethren, brother, tell me, where am I wrong? Take away the ego and the pride, please, and listen to what it is that I'm saying, so that maybe you will tighten up your belt, put on your backpack, pick up something, and do something different. Please, listen to what it is that I'm saying. And I understand the title is jarring, but as a collective, Black men have failed and continue to fail to protect their land, their women, their children, and their stolen children in the diaspora. Right now, we should have a continent to go back to. And we don't. Why don't we? Why don't we? Let me continue with this video. This is the documentary, Journey of an African Colony. It's right there on the screen. On Nigeria and how Nigeria even got its name, and how white people thousands of miles away were just divvying up parts of Nigeria, and how the North and the South were not even meant to be together. And this is why there's all of this conflict now. The marketplace massacre, where all of these women were murdered, Black women, Nigerian women murdered. on Nigerian
Yeah.
soil, while Englishmen took the money from Nigeria and sent it to England. And this is why England's roads are paved in concrete and Nigeria's are still rocky. How Nigeria got the name for nigger area.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and Nigerians still carried the name nigger area.
There was a general who gave us as a gift to his side chick.
There seems to be this cognitive dissonance. The ancestors that got trafficked and the is there any confusion? Is there any confusion? Why don't we have a content like I know African Americans who have moved abroad. However, they have moved abroad to developing infrastructure, no electricity 24 hours a day, spotty water sometimes, and going over having to do work to try to build up. Why is it that Africa is not like Wakanda today? This is part of the reason that we are not respected worldwide. This is part of the reason that men feel emblazoned enough to put their hands on another man, another grown man. How do you feel privileged enough to put your hands on a grown man, straddle him and take his life on the street, that your life is not worth much to him, and that passerbyers sit there and watch, filming? They don't even try to stop. It's like, as a collective, we have a public relations issue. We have a problem because part of the reason that we're not respected is because we do not wield power. We do not wield the collective protection of our countries at home, that many African people are leaving countries that have tremendous issues. They're going into these other countries looking for favor, hoping to make some money that they can't make back home. And whenever you come into a situation as a beggar, you don't have the options. I mean, what would happen if an American was in China and they tried to cut the American's lease? There would be some sort of something that would happen. Something. If they kicked you out of your hotel in China as a Black American, if you were staying in a hotel in China as a Black American, what would you do if they kicked you out of your hotel? I want to see some answers, please. I want to see answers. What would you do? And someone is saying, you all hate Black men. A Black man ain't against going wasawa. If you think that this is hate, then you are mistaken. What would you do? And Mama is saying Africa cannot unite because there are too many tribes. Jessica says Americans are offed all the time in China and nothing happens. Mila says U.S. Embassy. Go to the embassy. Embassy straight up. Mrs. Wright says embassy. Go to the embassy. U.S. Embassy, U.S. Embassy. Hitting the embassy as I move. Leave. There's nothing you can do there. Americans will not go up against China. Now listen. And Rayo says, White Daddy Embassy. Listen, we need to take ownership of this land. This is why we all need to get empowered, because we built this country. There were some people that were like, oh, why are you out on the 4th of July? This is my nation. Where are we going back to? Someone says, record and be passive. Calling and complaining the U.S. Embassy. Make sure the embassy knows you're there. When to travel abroad, I register with steps and let them know where I'm staying. You know what I'm saying? So listen, one person get beat in China, right? Hundreds, thousands of Americans being displaced in China. This would be addressed nationally. Nationally, this would be addressed. And even the person who made that statement, I believe, is in England. Listen, you all still have a queen. Sit down. Please, sit down. You all still got these people waving at you all, putting up fairy tales about the royals. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. You all got so much pomp and circumstance over there in Britain. Just and cloaked, camouflage, denial racism in Britain. Just sit down. I asked Americans what would they do. You don't, whatever you would do, just when it's time to talk to British people, I'll pose the British question. I'm asking Americans right now, because from what it is that I saw, England is a little blip of a country. This is how I don't even know how England was able to dominate a continent or countries across the pond, across the globe. I don't know how they were able to do it, just the might of their barbarism. Listen. QT says, my nation or no, July 4th is nothing to me. Listen, July 4th is speaking of Britain, July 4th is the anniversary of the day that this country became independent of Britain. So we are in America. We are the United States of America, and we're not a colony of Britain because of 1776, July 4th. So there are different layers. Yes, I celebrate Juneteenth. Yes. But you see, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Nonetheless. And Down says, yet you're speaking English. Y entonces, yo puedo hablar español también. ¿Y cuál es el problema? Oh, chotomate kudasai. Nihongo wakarimasu ka? I mean, a language is a language. Part of the reason that we're not taught our mother tongue from the continent is because of the structures that exist. So it's like, okay, listen, play with it if you want to. Play with it if you want to. Anyway, I have said everything that I want to say. Listen, we all have a right to do whatever it is that we choose to do. If you look at the writing on the wall, you know where this country is going. And so we need to stand up and start taking ownership of it. Nonetheless, how are you all feeling out there? I said everything that I wanted to say. If there's any other questions, let me know. Now is your time to ask them, because I have got to. I think it's time for me to leave. I think I'm running behind. Oh, I didn't check my apples. I'm sorry, you all. I'm sorry. All right, so let us see what we have here, right? Hey. All right, let's check these apples and see what we got. All right. So we have Reagan, who sends $11. There's no message with that. And then we have Tia, who sends $5 and says, happy early birthday, beautiful. You look amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And then what is this we have here? So we have $100 that was sent in by Steve. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. And my birthday is tomorrow, so I will be off tomorrow. I want to hear all of your comments about what it is that we talked about today. Oh, let me send my hearts through. All right. I want to hear your comments about what it is that we talked about today. If you feel I'm off base, and listen, I don't want this to be a bashing session between African Americans and people from the continent. That's just self-hate through and through, because we are of one people. So let's try to figure this out. I want to hear your comments. I want to hear your comments. I want to see your comments below. Thank you all for the birthday wishes early. The Cash App is at Tanya TKO. I will I'll try to, you know what, maybe I might come out. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out a few things for tomorrow, but I know today I am running a little behind schedule and I need to get out of here like right now. So Sergeant says, YT welfare. You sound jealous. That's the sound of a person who is jealous because they don't have the ability. You know what I mean? And that is a sign of your failure, you know, that you would attempt to disparage. Hey! 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 So that person had to go into the block party. So you can be there with the people with their stale buns and their old hot dogs, because you're out of here. So I want to see, I want to see what your comments are. Thank you all so very much for coming out. Go out there and love one another. Most importantly, what? Love yourself. And I want to hear, what do you feel the self-love lesson is from today's video? Type SLL and let's see what the self-love lesson is from today's video that you picked up on. All right, so come on, let's see it. You know what? Let me bust a little birthday wine for you all. Let me bust a little. Hey, let me bust a little birthday wine for you all. Hey. Come on, type SLL. Let me see what you feel the self-love lesson is from today. Come on. Hey. Come on. What is the self-love lesson? Let me see. Hey. Let me see the self-love lesson that you feel that you learned from today's video. Let's see. Hey. Thank you. Hey. Let's do that one more again. SLL, stop being conquered. Yeah, we need to come up. End this cycle of self-destructive. My self-love, pink, black, what? I didn't see that. Demand respect and obtain power. Yes. Invest and fight for your own homeland. Yes, there's a lot of things that need to change. Don't expect love and acceptance from others. Listen, it starts with self. Hey, come on. Come on, dance with me if you're not already. Hey. Come on. Listen, you know what? England's population of black people, I believe, is only 4%. That young lady is over here because she knows that we are popping. This is what I'm saying. Black Americans are like the well. We are like the watering hole, and everybody comes around because they want to be near. You know, nobody is concerned about. Listen, I'm just joking. I got British family members, of course, because I got family members from the Caribbean. But you know, this person is over here because whatever's happening in her life ain't popping. Come on. Hey. Come on. Hey. Come on. All right, self-love lesson. Love who you are and you could be. All right, I'm gaining knowledge I never knew existed. Hey. fight for righteousness. Beautiful. I will see you all in the next video. Tanya TKO, and I'll leave your comments below. Please be respectful. You know, attack the argument, not the person. No need to call names. If there's something that you feel is not right, inform with your documented proof of otherwise. As simple as that. All right, I'll see you all in the next video. Somebody said earthquake. You doggone right. You doggone right. All right, I'll see you all in the next